Alright, folks, welcome back. This is day 197 with Duolingo Japanese. Once again, MAKU desu. Konnichiwa. Minasan yokoso. So, let's just get it done quickly. Let's go. Ikimashou. Let's see. New vocab day. Scared. Oh, or I could review. I could do review instead. Because our 200 is coming up. Now think about it. Let's do our review. Our recall first. Unit 46. What was Unit 46? Extended family. Talking about family. Haha. Haha. Okasan. Oh yeah. Improving our organization here. Maybe more, even more so. Ryoshin, right? Ryoshin. Ahaoya. We can also do Goryoshin. Tsuma. Okusan. I quite like Duolingo as well. It's just so friendly. It's quite friendly. The the trade-off about it being incredibly friendly, Valentine, is that you kind of have to go through the extra mile of encouraging yourself to do slowly, like as you get your feet wet, right? With Duolingo, its incredible accessibility and approachableness requires that while it helps you get started, you have to double time and be more and more motivated and invigorated to do more than it is, right? I think that's one of the things that I like to encourage people to think about when they think about like starting something versus like maturing, and then not being discouraging in retrospect, kind of thing, right? Things that are incredibly accessible and friendly may not seem so useful later down the road because you were more motivated and became more confident over time. I think it's incredibly friendly because it helps people start. Starting is very, very difficult the more crystallized your learning experience is. The older you get, the more crystallized your learning, like trying to learn new things, become, right? That wall becomes harder and harder. So the friendly nature and the accessibility uh, comes at an expense of a rigorous discipline nuance, right? Um, they're at odds with each other. So I love that Duolingo exists. Be very friendly and accessible to those who have very, very hard time starting something, especially when they're so used to sticking with what they know, not having to develop the foundations again. And then you can incorporate a lot of things. So I get the question asked a lot, do I only use Duolingo? The Just to supersede any future conversations, I suppose. The answer is no. However, I started with Duolingo. It was sufficient to inspire me to do other things, right? Whenever I have a grammar question, Duolingo doesn't explain it, obviously, because it's not trying to make you think about grammar and whatnot. It's making you trying to engage with the language as much as possible without being overwhelming. If you need context, Tadoku, right? Graded readers. If you need grammar, Ofuku works for me. So that's kind of the thing. And then now all the other things I do are on top of Duolingo. So I have conversation, talk about random things they notice from outside. So you bring Duolingo out of itself and then you bring things into Duolingo. And that's kind of what I'm doing right now. This is my way of organizing the vocabulary in Unit 46, which is about extended family. Oh, weird dream I had today, Maku. You were there. Oh, really? With the Shiba Inu dog? Oh, in a library? Pretty sure we were talking in Chinese and Japanese. Well, are you suggesting that I should get a Shiba and I should meet you somewhere in the future so we can talk in Chinese and Japanese? That's a weird way of asking. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. I'm flattered to be in your dreams. That's interesting. I don't have any pets though. No pets. My mother is kind of deathly afraid of other living things other than human beings. Thank you for sharing. Let's see, Oksan. Oksan. Let's do. Okay. Chichi. My mother has a phobia of butterflies of all things. Oh, really? I have not heard that before. I mean, my mother is just definitely afraid of other living things. My father handles most of that stuff. I guess butterflies are okay. I haven't ever seen my mother around butterflies. Taco Bell was there too. Dog almost got run over. Somehow there was DBZ there too. Man, Blair, listen. What has been happening? I guarantee you showed up because I fell asleep to you during Chinese lunch. Oh, I see. Well, it's good to hear that the dog was okay. Taco Bell. Oh, I guess you had Taco Bell recently, maybe. Yo quiero Taco Bell, I suppose. Although you did mention Shiba, you didn't say it was a Chihuahua. All right. Otosan. Otosan. Chichioya. Chichioya. Otto. Otto. I should move it a little bit more. Shujin. 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 Goshujin. Goshujin. Where are we going now? So Hubo. So Hubo. Sobo. Sofu. Sofu. I need to look up the rules behind the O particle when it comes before verbs. There's an O particle that comes before verbs? Give me an example. I know of some predicates that have O in them, like oyogu. Oh, that O particle. Oh, okay. No. Never mind. I misread your thing. You mean the O particle. I get it. Yeah. No, I got what you mean. When you wrote I mistook it. Yeah, because this is O. This is classically referred to as O. Yeah. Got it. Yeah, the direct object particle in front of a predicate. Got it. Because I was trying to make Okaski. Interesting. I don't know what Gusky is. Oh god. Oh, skides. Oh god, skides. Oh. I see. Man, Nomaji is hard to read now. So under practice. Okay. Let's see. What else we got? Oh, rip. No, I remember it. I remember it. It's fine. I got it. I got it. I just need to remember what it sounded like. Yeah. I feel like there might have been there might have been a top to it. We'll stick with this for now. Yeah. Shinsetsu. Shinsetsu. Oba. Whoops. Oba. Oba. And OG. 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 So have Oba-san. And OG-san. Okay. Kodomo. Kodomo. And of oh, let's do what we know. So oops, that's the wrong character. Oh no, wait. No, that's correct. Musume. Right, Musume. Musko. Musko. I only remember parts of it. Elicit my emotions. Allow my emotions to take control. Oh, wait. We have a context clue here, actually. Mago. Mago. Might as well write it a couple times. Mago musume. Mago musume. Musume. Mago musume. Mago musko. Now, also have Omago-san. No. Does that work? Omago-san. Or is it Go-mago? No. Omago. Omago-san. I think that works. And also Oko-san. Oko-san. Oh, let's not forget the predicate that I forgot all 3 days because it's not listed. Wait. Oh no. Is something like that? Yeah, pretty sure it's something like that. Niru. Niru. Resemble. Niru. And there's still yet more. There's more vocabulary. I honestly think like the one unit, like imagine only spending 1 day on a unit. There's just so many more contextual organization that you have to go through. Like this is a lot. At least for me. I guess I'm not so special. Let's see. Itekimasu. 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 Iterashai. Iterashai. It's very difficult, but I'm doing the easier version some days. I don't think I could do a whole unit with perfect recall in a day. Yeah, it takes me 6 days. At least 6 days. So while I'm juggling every 3 days, this would be day 3 for unit 46 and then day 6 for unit 45. Iterashai. Iterashai. Tadaima. Tadaima. Okaeri. Okaeri nasai. Oops. Okaeri nasai. Okaeri nasai. Okaeri nasai. Tadaima. Iterashai. Itekimasu. That's all the vocabulary from unit 46. So because I know if you quiz me on what's in my vocab bank off of just me writing an answer, I would know maybe a quarter, half if it was being generous. Yeah, And generally, I would probably say it's kind of that's a great way to measure or to get a feeling of what's important, in my opinion. So the things, the quarter or the half that you think that you are able to know or like recall, but those are probably very useful or important or recent, right? It's not just recent but important and things that recur a lot. I try my best to remember like 90% within a specific time period, but then it will recede, it will diminish. But I'm grooming all the phrases. So I'm doing this. It's still important that I do this because then I would know and organize the information that is important to me at some point. So me manually grouping and organizing all this information like in this staggered way is helping me organize the information that's in my head. Uh, in a way, I kind of think this is what Duolingo was doing in the first place, only it's presented without explaining that, right? If this is not the way they're going about it, then at least I'm processing it that way. So it gives it an extra dimension of memory. It helps me remember it since I'm putting in the effort of organizing it in my head. Goes a long way. So unit 45. This is the last time we're going to do unit 45, which was hobbies. And the way I organized it was okay. Oops. That's a little aggressive. Hashiru. Son of a bee sting. Wait. Um. Nani? Oh. Wait. Wait. Yes. Sampo. Oyogu. Hmm. Dashin. Toru. Eh. Kaku. That is not the correct. I just wrote neko or nekoku. Okay. Let's do that again. We'll pretend that didn't happen. Kaku. Tegami. That's a little bit sloppy. It's okay. Kaku. Uta. Utau. Okay. Tomodachi. Asobu. Hmm. Ongaku. Oops. Kiku. Kiku. Hmm. Eiga. Miru. Miru. Hmm. What else we have left? Like taberu. Right, taberu. Oh, we do have an extra one. I don't know where it was, but we'll use it. Yeah, it's probably this unit. I neglected it actually. Hmm. Let's do Nihongo. Let's use Nihongo and Narau. Right. Narau. Nihongo and Narau. Take lessons or to learn something. Nihongo. That's not listed. This is pretty good. This is a pretty good review of the hobbies and activities and associated things. So basically, in Unit 45, they introduce a bunch of things that can be associated with a bunch of predicates. So all the predicates that they were trying to introduce back, right? Since by now you should know all the predicates hiragana, and they are at the same time introducing all the objects or things that they can modify. So holes. O targets and knee targets. Okay. Alright, that's pretty good. We're leaving Unit 45 behind now. Now, it's the main event, and I'm already 30 minutes behind. Okay, the main event. We are gonna look at this guidebook now. Take public transit. So what hiragana, what vocabulary are we gonna replace with kanji now, right? That's basically all we're doing in Duolingo now. What of the 2400 so vocabulary words are gonna be replaced with kanji? Okay, I ride the subway. Oh, is that how it's? Wait, is that all three stands for that? It's Chikatetsu. Chikatetsu. Oh, yes, three characters with it. It looks like the simplified form. Okay, so it does have D tier, the tier in part of D tier. Oh, it has both actually. D tier. Like related to D tier. The man, the myth, the legend. Oh, hello there, Garen Bates. Did you change your name? Do I know you? Ah, Chikatetsu. I love that word in Hira. Yeah, Chikatetsu. So, D tier. D tier is very close to this. So it preserves the. I wonder why they added this, but I guess you kind of get all like off and on. Interesting. And then they preserve the other. Yeah, they preserve the other. They did add a new. Yeah. So I'm curious if that was a simplified, if this character is simplified, because instead of using that, oh no, it is a character I'm supposed to remember. I had a hard time with L. It's this is probably a simplified character. Yeah, this is probably simplified of this, maybe. Yeah, so these two, this one plus this one with this modification is D tier or subway in Chinese. Wouldn't it be a below the ground? Oh, or a train, I guess. That makes sense. Excellent call. I totally get it. Blair, you're amazing. That is exactly probably why they put shita in in uh in it. That makes so much sense. Something that's underground. Subway. Chikatetsu. Chikatetsu ni norimasu. Right, norimasu we have. I get on a train at the train station. Eki de densha ni norimasu. We already have eki, and densha is a repeat. That's actually one of the few kanji that was introduced before they swapped over. Is there a map? There's chizu. Oh, I did. Oh, interesting. Chizu. I hadn't even made that connection right away. And we already have Chizu because of Shashinko. I already know Chizu. So Chizu wa arimasu ka? Sure. Okay. How long does it take? Dore? Dore kurai kurai kakarimashita. かかりますか Wait, どれくらい instead of くらい.
どれくらいかかりますか?
Interesting. I'm not sure if that is new or not. I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense. Interesting. どれくらい I'm gonna have to. This is a grammar point. We'll have to mark that. And it takes about 10 minutes to get to the school from the train station. Eki kara from the station. Eki kara koko made 10分 kurai ga kakarimasu. Oh, they started using kurai instead of gurai. Oh, that's kind of mean, but at the same time, I kind of makes sense. So, real history, like a Duolingo history lesson. They actually started with gurai. Gurai. However, these two are the same. And the only way I'm gonna explain it is, the only thing in my opinion that I'm not too concerned about this. If you say gurai or kurai, you're going to get about. And there was a conversation about this a while back, but it looks like they swapped over to kurai instead of gurai. Like kurai and kurai, not to be confused with kurai, which is dark. Kurai. Though, do we have the word for kurai? The kanji for kurai? No, we don't. This is kurai. Kurai kakarimasu. Interesting. I don't know why they switched it, but that's okay. It's still understandable. You can still tell it's saying about. Anyways, interesting. Maybe they'll highlight it. Who knows? We'll see. 6 lessons. Oh no. Can we get through this today?
乗りました。
Norimashita. Okay. Norimashita.
乗りまし、乗り
We
ま
do
せん。
have super, so we're gonna go a little quick. No, can't go. Norimasen.
乗りました。乗りまし、
Norimashita. So we already know this. Kuruma, which is a repeat. Okay, kuruma.
これはあなたの車ですか？
Kore wa anata no kuruma desu ka? Okay. This, your car. Alright.
彼女の車はかっこいい。
Kanojo no kuruma wa kakkoi.
かっこいい。
Oh. And they're not using the polite, they're not using des, the polite marker anymore. I thought it was like a fluke in the last unit. Like the last unit, I saw that they used a adjective, but they didn't bother with a polite marker. All right, des, right here. But I think they're dispensing with the des as well, which now I'm gonna get more used to hearing that. Yeah, because this is the casual form. Yeah, when you're speaking like casually with someone, you don't have des. In this case, in this very like this kind of structure, it's not required. This is it's not a copula. It's not like a copula, so you don't need it. So you're just being polite here. In this case, it would be to make it sound more polite. But at this point, it's not anymore. So they just drop it all of a sudden, which is kind of funny. Yeah, this is probably what you would hear a little bit more depending on the type of programming you watch. Like it's not very common to like I don't listen for the des when I'm like I kind of switch gears, right? If I'm watching a movie or a show and they're like out in public, like situation things, I would hear for the endings, right? However, when you kind of expect where you're going, like at a home and stuff, you wouldn't try to hear for the des to separate sentences. So I guess they're just gonna go with it. Kanojo no kuruma wa kakoi. It's gonna feel a little naked for a while. It's gonna feel a little naked for a while. Not even a heads up we're switching to casual conversation. I've tried listening to more natural conversation, pick up stuff like that. Yeah, because one of the things that are very useful when it comes to pattern recognition, right? You'll probably hear a lot about this. Generally, when you're like listening to a lot of input, your brain does a wonderful job. Even if you're not like, even if you're maybe like trying to distill it analytically, if you're actively participating, you'll pick up the patterns on its own. And in the reason why it's been a little bit of a downplay, like people don't really like the starting with mas form a lot of times, is that mas comes up very consistently. So it might come up so much in your study that when you start listening to other conversations, you will intuitively get lost sometimes when mas doesn't come up in the sentence. Like you won't actively know when sentence ends, right? And or like feel the ending of a sentence when you're not like processing. So some people argue balance it. use the mas form and immediately like also introduce the casual, uh, like the casual wording, so that you don't get stuck with basically a crutch, right? Like a pattern crutch where, oh yeah, now mas is gone and I can. It's kind of like the same with SRS and stuff. If you take away the flashcard, is that environment going to disrupt the way you recall things, right? Without context, right? Your flashcards actually provide a sense of context. It has order, curated, and so does Duolingo and structure and whatnot. So that's kind of why people are always, that's kind of why large majority of people say input, 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 different types of input. Keep on keeping yourself like getting used to as many patterns as possible. And eventually you'll like put it all together. Yeah. Yeah, you've noticed that with just what we're both doing, I'm still getting mas on mine, but now I've learned to recognize masen and yeah, and masho. Yeah. Yeah. And it takes a bit. And Duolingo really takes its time. So you either trust the process and go through and you dedicate that much time, or a lot of people do the sink or swim method, like just go in the deep end and learn, like get used to just hearing any of the forms and collect all the patterns, right? Again, we have to keep in mind that Duo focuses on accessibility, so you stay on it for a very long time. And the idea is you're expecting to use the app on and off for 15 minutes a day for like years. We're not talking about people who are interested in acquiring Japanese like within the year, something like that. Which I don't expect to myself either. Not that I'm really focused on it. I think focusing too much on an end goal can make you enjoy something less and less, right? It's my mantra.
電車
So densha, that's a repeat.
車に乗ります。
Kuruma ni norimasu. Well, you can read and my brain's giving answers faster than I can click those, so the process is working to whatever degree. Yeah. Or whatever like you're using the stuff. Yep. I think it's incredibly satisfying. If there's anything, I think one of the misunderstanding is that you are learning something and you are acquiring something. Now the question is, are at the end of the day, right, at the end of this course, are you attempting to tweak and change what you have learned to apply it to a different situation, right? Because the difference between learning and learning something from memory and comprehending something so you can lift it and apply it to something else, it's in your domain. It is under your control. So for me, the things I've learned in Duolingo, I've taken it and deconstructed it and threw it in everything. Like Shashinko, no matter what, whatever I learn in Shashinko and it comes up in Duolingo, you'll hear me immediately say, "Oh yeah, I already wrote this. It's part of the set in Shashinko." I'm not saying to myself, "Oh, I already know this stuff." I'm literally telling myself where and when and how that I know this already. So the idea is to create the construct and the context myself. And even if it's not for like construction, sentence construction, it's for memory aid, right? You're trying to be active about remembering all the things you have done that is relevant. It aids in a lot of being active. In my opinion, simply telling yourself, I know this, and then move along, that's selling your brain short, in my opinion, because I think your brain can make plenty of more statements than that. That's kind of what I mean by when people like go out to walk and they stop enjoying the sunset, or they stop enjoying the sun, they stop looking around, they're like spaced out, that kind of thing. Even then, can go a long way. You know, sit there, think harder. Sometimes it can be relaxing thinking harder or taking it in, you know. So kuruma ni norimasu. It sounds very sappy, but boy, do I feel like some people stop paying attention to the everyday things, right? I will Yes, ride. Sure. Ride a car? In a car? English? Okay, in a car, sure. I will use a car? I will, okay. Hey, thank you. Thank you, Chen.
電車に乗りません。
電車乗りません。電車に乗りません。
電車に
Oh,
乗りません。
here's one thing though. Blair, here's one thing. It does get feel a little bit grindier as it's going to that magical like section 3 unit 35. So when you're getting like through your section 3 and stuff, it kind of feels like it repeats like the longish sentences, but then when they start focusing on kanji, it shrinks back. And I for better or for worse, I think the moment they shrink back to something like this, it feels like I can always say these phrases by the time you get here. Like what I mean is, yes, I can't form complex sentences and I might not be able to hear native conversations with complex sentences. But if I can understand enough of the complex sentences, I can respond with simple sentences. Like what I mean is, just because I cannot construct and talk really, really in complex sentences, I can easily form short sentences. And what my focus now is, when I listen to someone, if I can form a response in the form of a simple sentence, it's fine. Like I could even just say yes, like "いいですね," right? Like even if it's like, okay, that sounds like a good thing, right? Okay. そうですか? Ah. いいですね. Like what I mean is like you're still like trying, but you get gist. And you have simple sentences in which it's broad enough. You can try to make the sentences broad enough to get a response. You know, I say things like,はい、楽しいです, right? Oh, 美味しい. You know, とても美味しい. That kind of thing, where you're like doing the actually it's funny because you're doing like the Asian thing where you're making snappy direct comments as though you're giving the other person the impression like you don't want to talk, right? However, if you said that, in my opinion, maybe not to a Japanese person, but if you talk like that to a Chinese person, it'd be like normal as usual. When someone asks you a question and you just answer with a simple sentence very quickly in public, that's probably, you know, 给我三杯水谢谢 and you're off. Like give me 3 bottles of water, thank you, and then you're just off. Like there's no like hello, how are you, like oh nice weather today. It's just like, you know, I want this and that, how much, let's go, you know, 这个那个一共多少钱, right? You're just like this, that, how much is it? Go. I know I should be doing Japanese, but that's how I'm thinking whenever I'm reading Japanese. I'm also thinking in Chinese. So if I could say this, you know, like これ, you know, これそれ, like これはそれは together. I don't actually know like how to say that in total. Oh, I can kind of say that in total. But regardless, you know, I'll just say total, right? How much, right? いくらですか? Right? So, これはそれは like これはと like これとそれいくらですか? Good enough, right? You know, this, that, this and that, how much is it? Right? ありがとうございます, right? Just go. That's all I'm thinking about nowadays. Where if you can encourage yourself to say very simple sentences and structures, eventually they can build up. So nowadays, when people type Japanese and stuff, I'm basically still able to read it, get the gist of it, and have a response that's fairly reasonable. And then when they ask a very specific question, then I still have the aid of technology. So I don't have to pressure myself to constantly like go from 0 to 100. The nice thing, the good feeling is that you can use it, you can learn, parts of it. And that to me, I think is probably the younger you get, right? Not the older. In fact, I feel older people have less friction for the later stages than younger people. The younger you get, the friction comes a lot later, where when you start to have to interact with another person, right? As much as we want to be a predictor and controller of conversations, usually experience goes far more when it comes to interacting with them. That's something you can't replace, because only time will tell when you have exposure to entering a conversation with someone. The closest thing you can have is listening and input. But anyways, I digress a little bit. Yeah, I've started to see these get longer and longer, and they don't get extraordinarily longer. I think Duolingo is almost a little conservative, like far more conservative. They could go longer. I totally understand why they didn't, because that's not their intent. However, they definitely can go a lot longer. And I didn't even get to stories yet, though. And eventually you'll get listening and response prompts if you haven't already.
電車に乗りません。
電車に乗りません. Okay.
エレベーターに乗ります。
エレベーターに乗ります. Okay. Well, I will take the elevator, sure.
電車を使います。
電車を使います. 使います is a repeat. So, to use. I will. English do be hard. I use the train. Okay, let's see.
700車。
It's crazy though. I still have to give it up for intuition, because my intuition for Chinese is still it's already ahead of Japanese, like because I don't have to worry about grammar, and my ear training is way stronger for Chinese. So lots of times when I'm reading Japanese, I'm already pretty comfortable in translating it to Chinese, and then I talk in English. So that's kind of what I'm doing. Just for if you're curious, like when I'm reading the Japanese, I'm thinking about the Chinese, but I'm like discussing things in English, just to keep everything in like going, just making sure that everything feels like it's together, as opposed to like constantly trying to separate them. It makes you really think. English is not my friend here. Yeah, I know, right? I know. Norimasu. Like, it's kind of funny. You have norimasu, right? Zo. That's it. Zo. In Chinese is zo. There's nothing else. I guess you could kind of say norimasu, so it's non-pass. So you could say something like maybe 会做. It's 做 and 会做, I suppose. This is 近い.
違い。
Chigai. Oh, sorry. It's guy. This is I hate. Oh no, wrong. This is wrong. Chigai. Wrong. Chigai. Which is not. This was one that they introduced, but they didn't list it in the kanji section. although I do have this character. So in Shashinko, this character is also used. See, this is what I mean by if you can integrate all your stuff. So in hold up. So chigai, I noticed originally in Duolingo, but then it occurred in Shashinko, and Shashinko is coupled with ho, i ho. So this has a different read, i ho, which I wish I am not drawing a blank. Yeah, sorry. Right. This is awful. I don't want to talk about it. Hold up. So, iho, this is illegal. Illegal. So, if this is wrong, and this is a combination of, like, willing in Chinese. At least, like, that's my, like, breathe things. Like, it has to do with, like, will or go, or so if it's a wrong go, it's illegal. And in chigai, which is a different read than i, so this is chiga instead, it's still wrong. So that's kind of how I know that chigai, or at least when I look at this character, I know it means wrong, even if I might not remember what the read is. I can still understand what that character loosely means, which is another way of learning and reading characters that you don't necessarily, you can discover characters and mean without actually needing to be told what it means, right? If someone said chigai, it sounds wrong, and then if someone written this or text this, it looks like wrong. That's kind of how all the stuff comes together, at least in my opinion, and that's how I'm interacting with it. At least I think. Maybe in the future I'll have like more things, or like an error or something like that. So that's kind of, it makes you no wonder you need 4 tones for one word. I know, right? It's so compact. Yeah. Chinese is pretty compact, which is it makes you feel differently. I think Japanese is an elegant blend of the excessiveness, explicit excessiveness, which is not a bad thing, right? It has its own charm, of English, and then Chinese. Like Japanese is really quite elegantly in the center. It almost feels like it's not too much, but not too little, that kind of thing. Sometimes when I'm thinking in Chinese, I'm like, it can be a little too low.
電車
Ensha.
バスに乗ります。
バスに乗ります。Although here's the words I learned for bus though, Chinese, like what is it? What was it? 公共汽车 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 and 公交车 instead of bus. And then, you know, if you're an English speaker, it's like, it's still bus. So sometimes, you know, it's not, it's a mixed bag no matter what, but still, like what happened? How'd you get from, what happened? Anyways, I think it's funny. I think this stuff makes me remember the stuff really easily. Like when I think of basu, I'm already thinking of like 公共汽车 汽车 because it's like so long and excessive. I feel like I should blame French for it. Yeah, like 我坐火车 right? 我坐火车 我会坐火车 it depending because 使います Sky must means will or is going to do so.
電車
Densha
Oh,
o sky
sky.
must.
ます
What the?
歩き
I don't know what haruki is. Wait. I do know
Aruki.
what aruki means. I didn't see the character for that though. Am I getting aruki? Yeah, for walk. This is walk. Aruki. Am I getting that? This. Oh, that does make sense. Transit. It's gonna say like, you know, eki kara or eki made arukimasu or something like eki kara densha densha made e? Oh, just made arukimasu. Arukimashita. I feel like I'm missing a particle, but we'll find out. Probably a knee. Wait, no, I don't think you need a knee. Whatever, we'll find out. Okay. Dekuchi. Why is Dekuchi written like that? I'll use a taxi. Sure.
タクシー
Taxi
を
or
使います。
so here's something that Duolingo does all the time, which I tend to highlight. You're wondering like, okay, why do you want to use skau? No reason. The reason why they're doing that is oftentimes when you have multiple ways of expressing something, so you can use noru, and they often provide any overlap. Like if there's old vocabulary in which you can use and express similar things, the hope, in my opinion, I guess their idea is you can relate these two, or if you forget one, you can use the other one. So like when you say, oh, I'm going to ride the train, right? Densha, right? Densha ni norimasu, right? I will ride the train. Densha ni norimasu. And you're like, I forgot how to say it. So you're just going to tell someone, densha o tsukaimasu, right? I will use the train. So, in my opinion, this is something that Duo does without fail. Like it's like so classic. Like if you ask yourself, wait a minute, I can say this in a different way, and then immediately in that lesson, it's gonna be likely it comes up. They don't, in my opinion, yes, some of these phrases can be like, perhaps there's an unnatural one, and unnatural being less common, right? Less common in saying, and then there's gonna be a natural one, right? I don't know which one it is. The thing that I think Duo does is to provide you with any combination that kind of translates to the same meanings, and the idea is you can use all of them, and in the hopes that you remember all of them when they become associated with each other, not the fact that they are immediately concerned with, oh, which one's more common to say. The idea is to say as much as you can in simple sentences. So you might be thinking, oh, this does not have any context, right? It's like, sure, I agree. It does not have context, right? However, there is association. So they use a lot of association, which association itself can be kind of contextual in a way. So your context is the association or the juxtaposition. So like antonyms. This is old school, right? In English class, for example, in my high school English class, one of the more effective ways for me to learn is antonyms. I use antonyms antonyms and synonyms to expand my vocabulary. And that's kind of what the old school thing is happening here too. Only now you're learning a second language, so it's almost like repeating the stuff again. when I think I'm just going autopilot, I didn't even register the English for yoku 家族とパザル oh パズルをします man puzzle I totally forget about puzzle. I can puzzle for puzzles, do puzzles. Yeah, you just glaze it over, you know? Anyways, this is why they do it, by the way. Yeah, see, now I get on the train, right? I get on the train.
電車
Densha ni norimasu. So now this norimasu could mean ride. It could mean get on. Right? So yes, there's no context. There's no context in whether this means ride or get on. The idea is they're just telling you, they're trying to tell you it can be ride, it can be get on, and you're going to need context. But they're not interested, in my opinion, in providing context right away or even at all. So the idea is I remind my sub it can mean ride or get on. And I would need context to know if that person is trying to say get on or ride. Kind of like your English when you're reading. I was gonna recommend you a Chinese book a while back, Maku, but I remember you were only doing Japanese at the time, so I waited. I'll post it in the Discord. Are you trying to sell me something, Sub-Zero? I feel like you're trying to sell me something. I'm interested. What are you selling? Oh. Dang it. I spent 20 minutes on the... Okay.
自転車
Do I look like I sell books? I don't know what you look like, but now that you mention it, yes. The answer is yes. Oh, hey, jitensha. Jitensha. Shashinko, by the way. Shashinko. Jitensha. Bicycle. We already know how to write this. Shashinko. I'm going to be saying that a lot, folks, so... In the future, if Duolingo doesn't like speed ahead of everything, everything I do like outside of Duolingo is gonna be like, oh, it's from that. Oh, it's from this. So it's gonna happen. Jitensha. Okay.
自転車
Jitensha. Oh, this is hikoki. Hikoki for flying. For plane.
飛行機
Yeah, hikoki. Hikoki.
自転車
Man. Have a fantastic rest of the night. Time to get some rest. Or back to class tomorrow. Oh, good luck. Good luck with class. You know what? I would love to hear about your classes and how classes are going. Valentine. Thanks for hanging out and chilling. Sleep well. Good luck with your classes. I'm gonna tell you, I love hearing about people going to class and learning things. So definitely don't be a stranger if you feel like sharing what you learned. I'm all ears. Speaking of that, a book sponsorship would be kind of cool though. Let me see. Okay. I wouldn't mind a book sponsorship.
自転車
Jitensha.
自転車
Jitensha.
自転空港
Kuko. Oh, this is Kuko. Oh. Why does it have leave or empty next to... No, I haven't seen that character before. It kind of reminds me of Tai though. or one. It kind of reminds me of one, but this is empty. Kuko.
空港
Interesting. Kuko is the airport. Speaking of, it's getting a grammar point in my next session. Oh, I see. Kuko.
空港
Okay.
空港
Kuko.
空港は大きいです。
Kuko wa oki desu.
自転車
自転車が好きです。
Itensha ga suki desu. I like bicycles. Low key.
飛行機
飛行機は古い。
Hikoki wa furui. Ooh, I don't want to hear that. Hikoki wa furui. I like this Blair, by the way. This is fly, go, or travel. Fly, go, or travel. Machine. Hikoki. Fly, travel, machine. Hikoki. Wow, furui desu. The airplane is old. Okay.
地下鉄に乗ります。
Chikatetsu. Chikatetsu ni norimasu. Okay.
飛行機
Hikoki.
飛行機
Okay, I don't know about
Kuko.
Kuko. Kuko is a little weird. Kuko. Chikatetsu. This one. This one is like oh man. So here's like a vehicle, right? You have vehicle, and there's vehicle in here, but it's like a more manual vehicle, I guess. And then this is like a operated, maybe like a manually operated vehicle. The bicycle is kind of how I'm interpreting it for now, based on the understanding of the frequency of how these characters come up. So manual operating vehicle, bicycle. Sent this book specifically is about the Monkey King Wukong, so it's a fun read. Oh, okay. Okay.
自転車
Jitensha.
車
Hikoki. And obviously those aren't like the actual meaning of the character. Some of them might be, I don't know if they are or not. The idea is that I created them, and then it helps me get to the meaning of the word. So whatever it is, regardless of someone like tells me open a radical book and tell me all these things, rules are rules. But if they're my rules and my trends that lead to the one, it works the same way. The ends justify the means. And the thing is, if you created the thing, the mnemonic, you're more likely to remember it. Not that anyone wants to make that effort. I totally get it if you don't want to do that effort. Generally, it's much more fun and engaging to invest that effort. It is totally understandable if you just want to open up a radical book and just have someone already formulate stuff for you. That's totally understandable. That's why you download Akidex, right? That's why you use Duolingo. You don't want to do certain things. Like I don't want to plan the lesson, for example. So Duolingo does most of that for me. I ride the subway. So, 地下鉄
地下鉄
に乗ります。
に乗ります。
I do not like the subway. 地下鉄は好きじゃないです。ね? What is this?
食
Oh
堂
yeah, that's 食堂. My
食
bad.
堂
I knew what it is.
地下鉄は
好きじゃないです。Okay. I do not ride the 地下鉄に乗りません。Yeah.
地下鉄に乗りますん。
Alright. Next one,
Eki.
next one. Eki. That we know? What? Horse?
馬
Ma? Okay.
駅
Eki.
図
Zu? Oh. I wonder what zu alone mean. Interesting.
車 駅
We're gonna find out soon enough. Oh, hey. This is, Osoi.
遅い
Shoshinko, again. Osoi. This is also technically in Shoshinko as well, but we haven't gotten to it.
飛行機
This is more Chinese at this point. Hikoki.
Zu.
Zu. Okay. Zu.
Zu.
Oh.
地図
Chizu. They just omit chi all of a sudden. I don't know. I don't know why they omitted Chizu. Okay.
地図
地図をください
Chizu o kudasai. Yeah. The map, please. All right. Fair enough.
遅いですか
Osoi desu ka? Okay.
前の車はとても遅い。
前の
前の
車は遅い。Wait. Wait.
前の車はとても遅い。
前の車はとても遅い。Wait.
前の車はとても遅い。
Right.
前の車はとても遅い。
It is very slow at the in front of the car. The car in front of me. Oh, okay. Right. The speaker is the subject. Right. Japanese. Right. The speaker is the topic is out. The speaker is outside. Yeah, the car in front of me is very slow. Right.
このバスは遅いですよ
このバスは遅いでしょう。Is slow. Really? You know? De show? Why don't you just change it to you know? No, I'm just kidding. There was a joke yesterday about adding someone said in it in Japanese just because. And I was joking about like instead of saying desho, just say you know. You know. Easy clap, right? You know. You know. このバスは遅いでしょ Bus is slow, you know? It really does be like that. At least I think this is what they're going for. Yeah.
家まで歩きます
家まで歩きます。
歩きます
Yeah, so yeah, no ni. We didn't need any ni. Yeah, that makes sense. Because made takes place of ni. So, 家まで歩きます。
駅まで歩きます
駅まで歩きます。I will walk to the station. Yeah, non-pass, sure.
駅からホテルまで歩きます。
駅からホテルまで。 made arukimasu.
歩ます。
Yeah, I'll walk from the train, the train station to the hotel. Right. Okay.
家
家まで
まで
歩きます。
歩ます 駅
Eki, get on. I guess you could say eki de.
で
I guess the act of getting on is active. So eki de
電車
電車に
に
乗ります。You're 9 units away from section 3. I'll be able to communicate in Japanese for work at the end of 2. That's useful? I don't know. Oh, wait. Communicating at work, I think, is complaining about your coworkers and complaining about how people aren't hardworking, or like things keep breaking. I think it was a negative chapter. If I remember, it might be the one where you talk. Oh no, it could be the chapter about when is lunchtime and like when does meeting start and meeting ends and stuff. There is one unit where you just complain about your coworkers and complain about your boss and I don't know why that's taught, but I don't think Japanese people find that very useful. Just saying. Granted, I guess you can talk about it here, cross-cultural stuff. But man, it feels uncomfortable when you have to go negative at all.
駅
駅まで歩きます。What the heck was that? Wait. What was that icon? Wait, what just happened? Oh, I got to do the double or nothing. Did anyone just see like Duolingo? Oh, we completed this thing. Oh, there's a new monthly thing. Oh, okay. There's a new monthly thing. Oh, I love this one. Oh, this one's so cute. Oh, this is for Duocon. Is Duocon happening this year? Is it in September? Oh, I like this one. This badge is cute. Alright. Anyways, come back.
近い
The most non-Japanese unit I've ever seen about work stuff. Yeah. Okay, chikai.
近い
Chikai. Not chikai. Oh, they're getting tricky. Because chikai and chikai are available now. Right, this is chikai. They both are on Snellback too, interestingly enough.
遠い
Oi. Oh my word. Oi. Interesting. So we got far. Oi. It kinda, if you don't squint, right? You might mistaken it for hayai. I was expecting hayai. Oh, here's hayai.
早い
Dude. Yeah, see, okay, here's another Duolingo thing, right? So they did introduce osoi, so they have to introduce hayai. So I'm expecting hayai, but toi, because they introduced chikai, right? Because far and close. However, they didn't have to do it in the same unit, but if you look, oi kind of looks like hayai. So I don't know.
遠い
Okay, Toy. This is a new one, so Toy is new.
車早い
Ko
空港
Kuko. Oh, I keep saying Kokoku, but that's advertisement.
近い
Okay. All right. 近い
近い
近いですか
近いですか
駅はここから近いです。
As small as the screen is, I know there's an extra line, but I wouldn't be able to know the difference unless I heard it. Yeah.
駅はここから近いです。
駅はこ
こ
こから近いで。
ですす。駅はここから近いです。
Okay, okay. So here's. Oh, interesting. So now they put desk back. Interesting. What's going on? They just choose willy-nilly.
駅はここから近いです。
Although this would be something that you kind of want to say to someone, like a stranger. 駅はここから近いです。The station is close from here. So from here, the station is close. Is probably what I would say, but the train station is near here. That's fair enough. I would use from because of kara, but the train station is near here. Is fair enough.
ここは家から近いです。
ここは家から近いです。Okay. So now this Coco, so we were gonna need a place. So this place is near my house. Yeah. And place is just a placeholder. Coco. You could say this. It's still fine. This is near my house. Like just non-specifically this, but it's Coco, so it's a location. So you have to put in a location for this place. I mean, if you really want it to like be like an English translation, it'd be like Coco like basho, Coco basho, or literally put in a place, but for place. But Coco wa ie kara chikai desu. Yeah, this place is near my house. Okay. Interesting. I'm curious if that warrants a grammar point. Because kara is not quite the... Kara is connecting something. I think I'm gonna have to write a note about kara. This place is near my home. Oh yeah, sure. Right, yeah, that's right. They accept house and home.
早いですか？
早いですか？
電車は早いです。
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 タクシーは早いですか？
Zadi's like synthetic voice does the ka like very elongated, and I find it really funny. Like you can imagine her just like running up to you and it's like like it's like like taxi wa hayai desu ka, and then her like the person will like lean in. That's all I can imagine right now.
タクシーは早いですか？
Sorry. Our taxi's fast. It's like a kid like running around and it's just very enthusiastic. It's like, are taxis fast?
遠いですか？
遠いですか? It's so hard to see like if there's one extra stroke there. We'll have to see. Oh, I'm running out of time. I only have 18 minutes left. Okay, toy. Oh, wait, I can see it here. Oh, there is one here. What the heck? So I'm guessing this, and then that? Yeah.
遠い
Toy. Okay.
電車
電車
早い
Whoops.
早い
I don't want to talk about it.
乗ります近い
Toy.
遠い
ここ
ここから No? Yeah.
から
ここから
は
ここからは遠いですか？
遠いです。こんばんこんか
or
それ
それ
からここ
no
ここそれ
ね
それからここから
No way, right? それはここから近いですか Really? Because it says from here. Is it? So it, we need a placement. Maybe? Yeah. Okay. That's kind of a little bit ridiculous, but okay. I kind of understand why they would go with that. それはここから近いですか? Alright. I suppose. Her apartment is far from her university.
彼女
彼女とアパート
アパート
は from her university は大学から遠いです。
遠です。
Okay, that is definitely warrant a grammar point. Because far from kata is used as a connection with like relative distance because you're learning English. Well, welcome aboard. Japoneso. Or Chaponzo. You're from Brazil? Hello. Hello. How are you doing? Yeah, it's about that time, huh? It's about that time. It is far from my house.
家
家から No.
家
Yeah.
家
家から遠いです。
遠です。
Are you also learning Japanese? By any chance?
汚くないです。
I have around this time, around like this time zone, I've met quite a lot of people from Brazil who have are currently learning English and Japanese and like one other thing a lot of times. 来たくないです。来たくないです。It isn't 30? Or 来たくないです。I wonder why they're
ないです。
introducing that. Japanese is very difficult. That's understandable. Yeah, japonés. Japonés es más difícil. Sorry, I know. I'm speaking Hispanic Spanish, but that's fine. I know Portuguese. I can't speak. Unfortunately, I don't speak Portuguese. Let's see. 来たくないです。
近くないです。
I haven't gotten a chance to learn Spanish again yet. All I got is like the gaming remainders of my Spanish. It's been over 10 years since I learned Spanish, but eventually I'll be learning Spanish. It's gonna be another 3 or 4 months before I get back to Spanish. Lots of people throw Portuguese at me and ask me to guess what it means, and all I got is like broken Spanish to go off of.
近く
近く oh 近くないです Okay, so they're introducing the negative adjectives again. Negative E adjective conjugation. Okay, so I'll have to remember that too. 近くないです
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 遠くないです
遠くないです Yeah, so they're reintroducing how to conjugate negative E adjectives. Or E adjectives in a negative, in a negation. Present negation. 遠くないです
早くないですか
早くないですか Oh, that's a double negative. No. Is it? No, just kidding. This is a negative, but it's a negative question. Oh, I don't... Isn't it fast? 早くないです。早くないですか
早くないですか
早くないですか
彼は遅くないです。
彼は遅くないです。Oh yeah, 遅くないです。彼は遅くないです。He is not. Oh, interesting. Or late? I guess I could see that. I could see that. He's not late as opposed to he's not slow.
早くも遅くもないです。
早くも。
早く
Wait.
早くも遅くもないです。
早くも遅くも。What the?
遅くもです。ない。
Wait.
早くも遅くもないです。
This is a new this is a new grammar point. Using mo. It's a chain mo. So this is saying, I mean, it kind of makes sense. It's not fast and not slow. It's not fast and it's not slow. It's
早くも遅くもないです。早くも遅くもないです。
it's neither fast nor slow. Intriguing. So what did we learn before? We learned how to connect adjectives, right? And how did we do that? Pretty sure it was hey. Hello there, Victor. Hello. I'm pretty sure we used te. Yeah, te for E adjectives and de, I think. Oh no. Oh. Duolingo is very good for learning language, but I'm still at the beginning of English. Yeah, the te form for adjectives. So this one is weirdo. This one's so weird. Keep on working. I mean, your English seems really good. I mean, that your typing is really good. Japonese.
彼女は早くないです。
彼女は早くないです。
どれくらいかかりますか？
Dore kurai. Oh, okay.
どれくらい
Dore kurai. Okay, so they're just reintroducing it. Dore kurai.
どれくらい
Dore kurai kakarimashita? Kakarimasu ka?
駅から学校まで10分くらいかかります。
Okay.
駅から
Eki kara. Oh, what's the other location?
学校
Gakko. Oh, I said koko before. Gakko.
駅から学校まで10分くらいかかります。
I actually misread this is from the guidebook, and I'm pretty sure I read koko instead of gakko.
駅から学校まで10分くらいかかります。 10分
10分
くらい
ですか？くらいかかります。or
駅から学校まで10分くらいかかります。
かかります。
かかります。
Interesting. And kakarimasu is maintained as in hirakana. Interesting.
早く家に帰ってください。
早く家に帰ってください。帰ってください。We got our te form as well for our predicates. Please, 早く。Oh. That makes so much sense now. For the hayaku and how the haiku mo. Interesting. Please go home quickly. Sure.
学校は近くないです。
学校は近くないです。
遠くに行きます。
遠くに行きます。Even more interesting. I go far away?
"近くも遠くもないです」
Okay, yeah. So, okay. Alright. Interesting. Isn't the train late? This is actually a turn of phrase for osoi. Or a turn of meaning for osoi.
電車
Dencha. Densha.
遅く
Osokunai.
ないで
Desu
か
ka? No particle in between. Interesting. Unless I'm missing something. Huh. I see them switching slow and fast in a different order. I see you.
早くも遅くもです。ない。
Mine does. Okay. That's one way to
近く
mess around with
Mo.
the new kanji.
遠く
Toku
Mo. ないです
Okay. This is for neither nor. Yeah. Yeah. So now I gotta remember that too. There's two major grammar points in this unit. Got to remember. I need to remember kata. Kata with distance again. And then neither nor. Neither nor. Interesting. Neat. Okay. Okay. 遅い。乗ります。地図。駅。Zoo. I don't know why zoo instead of 地図。
地下鉄。
駅からホテルまで歩きます。
駅からホテルまで歩きます。Will? Sure. There was another correct answer. Okay. Oh. Because it's probably okay. That's fine. 電車。
電車。
家から駅まで歩きます。
上、家から駅まで歩き。Yeah, they want the other way. I walked from my house to the train station. But generally, I would say I walked to, like, I would emphasize the like the closest relevance to the thing. So that's fine.
飛行機。
駅から学校まで10分くらいかかります。
駅から学校まで10分ぐらいかかります。blah blah blah blah. Oh, whoa. Okay. It takes 10. Oh my gosh, it takes 10 minutes. It takes about 10 minutes to go to the train station from, go to the school from the train station. I know. They want to say it takes about 10 minutes from the train station to go to the school. No, wait. Oh my gosh, to get to the school? This is why English is such a pep.
タクシーには乗りません。タクシーには乗りません。
タクシーには乗りません。
タクシーには乗りません。
Yeah, and now they're using also compound particles. Or like niwa and like niwa is a really common one now. Most like では
電車はまだですか？
電車はまだですか？まだですか？まだyet? はまだですか？ Is train here yet? Is the subway train here yet? Ain't no way. Ain't no way. Oh, it's a train not here yet. What? Hold up. No way. Hold up. 電車はまだですか? the train not here yet? How do I know this was in the negative? Actually, let me look up Mada. Maybe Mada is just negative. Oh, it can be negative. Usually written using kana alone, but with verbs in the negative. There's no verbs in the negative. Oh, this was low. This was very low. There's not enough context to know it's negative. What is negative in this sentence? Mada de? There's no mada de. That's des. Still not yet. Mada is used to express still or not yet. No. That's only if it's negative. Still as yet only. So still not like yet, but it doesn't have to be.
ここは家から近いです。
You don't have to like quote the Duolingo is in the end of all deciders. You were right and Duo was wrong. No. It's perfectly fine. We're just being dramatic here.
ここは家から近いです。
But yes, I can read from Jisho, Victor. I can definitely read from Jisho.
午後、ここは家から近いです。
ここ、家。
家は、から、
whoops. Wait.
ここは家から近いです。
ここは、
は、
家から近いです。Okay.
電車の中はうるさいです。
There's nothing about being wrong or right, guys. It's about learning why it's the case. So let's make sure that we get things clear. It's not rather you think you know what it is or what. It's about discussing how I would stop, how I may or may not be able to interpret this. When it is not here yet, it's also implying that it is not here yet. I don't know if you guys know that. Like, is it here yet? Yeah, right? Is it here yet? That's also saying, is it not here yet? As in, if you're asking, is it here yet? That's clearly it's not here yet. Like, you wouldn't ask this if it's not here yet. So even if it says not here yet, these two sentiments are the same thing in English. But what's funny, in my opinion, about this is this, in my opinion, is probably more natural for most people because they would say it in a negative. I would say, is it here yet? Because it's not here, which is confusing, but also English. Not so much Duolingo, but it is English. And I think it's funny.
電車の中はうるさいです。
I'm still a little shaken up though.
電車の中はうるさいです。
電車の
前、中は
You're inside the train?
電車の中はうるさいです。
Oh, うるさいです. Okay, it's very loud inside
うるさ
the
いで
train,
す。
sure.
駅はここから近いです。
駅
は
Actually, what you say is a train, I would go, I wonder when the bus will arrive. Yeah. You turn it into the affirmative, right? You use the affirmative. Oh, or at least you and I have a, like, just the way you worded it, you would use it in the affirmative, like, as opposed, and even saying, is the bus here yet, is the affirmative, as opposed to the negative, which is like, that isn't, well, that is, like, that's not wrong, for example. Yeah, that is not wrong, for example. This is very common nowadays. Open doors with a smart Alex, yeah. Like, that is not wrong. And then a smart Alex would walk by and say, but is it right? That is not wrong. But does that mean it's right? You would think it means that. But that's different than saying that is right. It's a very this means something that this does not. However, I would say if I had to poll the internet, right? If I had to poll the internet, or just sample the internet, I would say more than 50% will say this phrase to kind of mean this phrase. Kind of. However, you wouldn't know for sure. You're just stating that it's not wrong, and you have yet to determine if it's right or it's right. But sometimes people want to say that is right, and then they choose to say that is not wrong. And then I ask myself, I don't understand. Do you mean it's right, or do you mean you don't know if it's right? Because it's ambiguous. And that's kind of how I felt. 駅はここから近いです。
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 駅から学校まで10分くらいかかります。
Oh, heckin' get. I'll get you. Duo. I'll get you. Wait. Okay. It takes about... gotta find all the words. It takes about... Where's 10 at? There it is. It takes about 10 minutes to get. I will get you. I'll get you like you got me. That is a problem. You know what's funny about the translation of these things? Like, I understand. See, I don't even use I get this, right? I don't say I get this. Unless I'm being really, really pedantic or casual. Like, you feel me, bro? I get you. I got you, right? Kind of thing. But most of the time I use words like I understand. Because they're less ambiguous, right? And the funny thing about using this type of vocabulary is the translations are using high school, lower than high school English for the translation, right? However, you might be saying, well, that's very appropriate because this is probably what they're saying in Japanese, right? And I'm like, are they though? It's kind of difficult to know, right? It's kind of difficult to know. But whatever it is, I still remember when maybe 7th grade, I think it's 7th grade English and on, where the goal was to replace words like get or put. Put, like what does put mean? Or what's another one? Do. Get, put, and do. Like, oh yeah, I'll do it. Like, what do you mean by do it? Like, do you mean you're gonna complete it? Start it? Gotta give me more than that. It's like, no, I'll do it. I'm like, can you explain to me what are you going to do? Like, I get you. Do you mean like you understand what I said, or are you feeling the same way I'm feeling? Like, where are you going with I get you? It. Oh, it. Oh gosh. It. Oh no. Oh no, it. It takes about 10 minutes to get to... Wait, get to the school from the train station. Wait, I have no. Oh my gosh, oh my goodness. I can only imagine people who are learning English, and then you would have to think about these things. And I do think about these things all the time now because we have to translate this, right? Like, what happened to the here? Or what happened to the article here? And then the only way I could explain it is it's because there usually isn't an article in front of school. You see what I mean about this? Like, about English? Like, but it takes about 10 minutes to get to school as opposed to like a location, the school or a school. So I put the here and I realized, I immediately knew, oh, it's the train station and not the school or a school. Right? If this is wrong, I'm just gonna quit now. And this, this is English, and I really want to talk to someone who's like learning English. Like I maybe I'll like try to engage in like a language exchange. I really want to hear how I want to see, you know what? I should watch people learning English. I really want to see how they learn, like how not to add an article here and add an article here. Like, these are the questions that I can never answer anymore, or like I can't, like you no longer think about these things because you're an English speaker, right? But when you're learning like Japanese, you're also doing these things technically, and it's fun, like people telling me like how they're going about it. But at the same time, I'm genuinely curious is Duolingo English like this, where when someone uses Duolingo for English and then suddenly they get like bopped for including an article. I have been told by language exchange partners that phrase verbs are a real challenge. Oh, interesting. Phrasal verbs? Yeah, phrasal verbs. That's a good question. That's a good way to place it. Like, this stuff, in my opinion, is the same stuff that I feel I get the criticism from Duolingo. Like, I get the criticism that people put towards Duolingo, where like, oh, you need to be exact, like it's near perfect and stuff. So it causes consternation by it causes consternation by being too exact or being too particular about their phrasing. And in English, I can't even imagine what that feels like to learn that type of thing. Phrasal verbs, like when you get to a something, like a phrasal verb, when you get to a something, it can change things up, like break down, like for example, like break down, or see to something, that breaks, like it messes up the verb and what, like it messes up what goes around the thing. Like see to what? Like see to it that you get it done. See to it. Or look down on. Like that's something. So to get to what? To get to school. Like phrasal verbs. It's, I don't know. Get to, right? Get to is a phrasal verb.
電車はまだですか?
And they use phrasal verbs a lot in here, which I find myself using more often now because I've been translating quite a bit. Phrasal verbs, the word, I think one of the things that really turned me off about some of the phrasal verbs, like phrases, in a way, is whenever the verb ends with a preposition. So then whenever you end like a question with this, like, did the car break down? Where are you going? Where will you go to? Like, how do you get like, what kind of transportation did you, like, I can't even do it really well, but it happens all the time, right? And I distinctly do, like, for example, to whom did you give, right? To whom did you give, as opposed to like, did you get to, like, who did you give it to, right? I don't know. There's a lot of it's so hard for me to come up with examples because I'm not very like common. I gave it to her. Imagine having to learn the difference between give up and give in. Give up and give in. I can't even explain that, honestly. Give up and give in. Yeah, it's oof. Those are good examples. Human being, it's a very good example. Imagine. Honestly, I don't think I even used the word give up. The phrase give up or give in. I would say like relent. For this is relent, and this is quit. So if I'm emphasizing give up, I would use quit. If I use give in, I would use relent. That's my only way of describing things. Actually, there was this thing back when I was a kid, right? When I was taking like an IQ test for screening and stuff, the person was testing my vocabulary, like how my aptitude for vocabulary, and this is how I did the whole exam. I was like, I guess I was either 14 or 15, and I described all the words and broke down all the words using contextual synonyms and antonyms, and then like origins, lots of origin stuff. So everything was contextualized without like having to explicitly explain each of the words. So whenever that person said like, how do you define something, I just give the person a synonym. And then if I can't find a synonym, I would just say it's not the antonym. I remember doing that exclusively. And one of the things that I scored the highest on was like verbal, or more like linguistic skills, which is funny now that I think about it in retrospect. So funny. Anyways, weird. I think Duo tries to do the whole synonym and antonym thing. Let's see. Densha wa, oh wait, how'd this go? Is the train not here yet? Right? Yes. Yes. Send help. All right, this is our last lesson of the day. Oh, look at all those fancy new characters. I need to make stories for the fancy new characters for tomorrow so I can remember them. So let's just get this done first. Hikoki. 15 minutes on the clock. I'm kind of like 45 minutes behind. That's okay.
飛行機
Oh no. No wonder they simplified this.
飛行機
I'm just kidding. I'm learning Chinese right now, and it's simplified Chinese. So this is the simplified Chinese is only this part. That's it. That's the only part. Everything else
飛
is...
行機
But now I know. Whoops.
飛行機
Oh my gosh. This thing's wild.
飛行機
It's probably the most dynamic one I had so far of all the
飛行
characters.
機
Okay, there are a few that are pretty
飛行機
dynamic, but this one is pretty wild. And there's a curve there too. Whoops.
飛行機
This kanji is a nightmare to write.
飛
We're
行機
gonna have to get used to writing for sure.
飛
Yeah,
行
right
機
now we can write. Right now we can write maybe around 250-ish kanji, and we can write 500 or so hanzi.
飛行機
And by far, this is a fun one. Oh, this one
飛行
is
機
this one's wild. Oh gosh, stroke order. Wow, this one's really something.
飛行機
Oh, yeah. Shashinko. It's fine. We wrote this character so
Hikoki.
many times.
Hikoki.
It's ridiculous how
Hikoki.
often this comes up.
飛行機
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 Writing is so much fun. Sorry, unpopular
Hikoki.
opinion. I know, unpopular opinion. I'll take it back. Like for
飛行機
in case people don't like it.
飛行機
Writing this kanji makes ki look like a cake. I know, right? Yeah, writing kanji is a heck a lot of fun, man.
飛行機
I know it's not like a practical use for a lot of
飛
people,
行機
but man, it's so humbling and it's so interesting at the same time.
飛行機
I always get humbled by it. Some people already gave me like showed me some other kanji that are absurd, like dragon and stuff, but that's fine. We'll get there when we get there. Kuko.
空港
Kuko. Yeah, this one's okay.
空港
There is just something so satisfying about writing complicated kanji with a perfect stroke order. I know, right? You kind of just feel the kanji at this rate.
空港
Earlier, someone asked me, no, the 4 dragons. I don't know what it's called, but the 4 dragons. Like you just write 4 dragons. I don't know what the word is, but someone showed me 4 dragons. Something that means 4 dragons.
空港
I think it's not a kanji. I think it's actually a hanzi. But it's just 4 dragons. Like in a grid. And it's not necessarily complicated because you just write 1 dragon but 4 times. But you got that proportion thing going. You know, you have to get it in the grid.
空港
You got that proportion thing
空
going.
港
And also the whole like writing
Kuko.
is satisfying thing. I think earlier someone asked me about like how do you know about the stroke order
Kuko.
and whatnot, and it's gone to the point where you just fill the stroke order, like just fill it.
空港
Which one is that? I don't know what it's called. It's 4 dragons. Maybe if you type 4 dragons, it'll work out. The guy really likes whoops. Oh, water.
空港
The guy really likes like super complicated
空港
like characters, and they only like Chinese because of it. Interesting. You know what that one reminds me of? It kind of reminds me of gashikoi or zuru gashikoi. So gashikoi. Gashikoi is oops. Wait. Hang on. Wrong stroke order. Oops. That's not the right radical. This one. Gashikoi. But I can't see it. It's too tiny in there.
4時間
Oops.
飛行機
Yeah, it has 4 dragons. I don't know what it's called. I don't know what the character is. They just wanted to show me, and then when they typed in the text, it's just one white box. Like in the chat, right? In the chat, it's so condensed that in the chat it's a white box. It just looks like a white box. It's too dense.
飛行機
飛行
Have
機
you encountered any kanji that looks almost exactly like each other? All the time. That's what Duolingo does that all the time. It
飛行機
飛行
they
機
do it intentionally. It's part of the Duolingo sessions. So all the
飛
time.
行機
飛行機
飛行機
Like for example, some people every time I write this, and then some people when I write this, occasionally when people are trying to read or say something about what I'm writing, they think I'm trying to write this. This is the more common meaning that is being used, but this is not. So this one, they're both actually fairly common. However, this one is more part useful. Right? This is a very specific thing. So that's a good one. This radical gets mixed up all the time. So when you're trying to do this, but you get this as well. So it combines with things like, for example, neko. This happened the other day. So this is as in like kaku, for example, and this is neko. So this can look like this. There's a lot. Yeah, a ton of things for and it's kind of fun, at least in my opinion.
飛行機
Oh, the one that someone told me about is this one, and this one. And these are different radicals, and I still have trouble remembering which radical is it. I just typically what I do when they appear in a character is I try to make the characters as proportional as possible. Whenever these come up, there is a difference between doing a fat one and a skinny one. So when you're ever doing like ka and stuff, if these occur in a radical, there is a difference between which one's fat and which one's skinny. But it's not like super essential. However, you can kind of tell which one's the fat one and which one's the skinny one. I always thought that one has the interior not connected. Oh yeah, me too. True. Yeah, true. This in the Duolingo Chinese course, in the Duolingo Chinese course, they actually do it this way. I don't know why they chose not to. They use a print font in the Japanese one where it connects everything. So it's kind of interesting. Fair point. Fair point. Oops. Yeah. Really fun stuff when you start writing things and like doing that. Not really necessary, but you know, we're just nerding out a little bit here. Shikatetsu.
地下鉄
Hey.
地下鉄
Just nerding out slightly.
地下鉄
地下鉄
地下
And
鉄
of course I don't have to go since I'm learning both Chinese and Japanese. It goes without saying that when you learn Chinese and Japanese, that comes up like all the time. So it comes up double the time. Like for example, this is a character for both.
地下鉄
地下鉄
And there are ones that are identical, but they aren't used in the same meaning.
地下鉄
地下鉄
It's always fun. Not a
地下鉄
stranger.
地下鉄地下鉄
I think you might as well embrace the nuance when you're at it.
地下鉄地下鉄
地下鉄
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 There's also this, right? Simplify Chinese. Use this in the same meaning. So this is the simplified Chinese one, but this might not actually be the simplified of this technically, because this also exists in some characters as a radical too. So it can get a little like, you can't just automatically assume that.
Chikatetsu.
And then Chikatetsu has this in the middle, while D tier has both the characters without this. Yeah, it has this and this with a probably a simplified character on the left, and then without the shita or the ka.
地下鉄
Oops,
地下鉄
I lifted my pen there.
地下鉄地下鉄
All unnecessary,
地下鉄
but also really fun to discover. Oops.
地下鉄
Oh, and you know about the
地下鉄
satisfying stroke order thing, right? Human being. You encounter these problems too, right? You have this radical right here, and then now you're stuck, right? If you're thinking like, okay, so what are you gonna do? Are you gonna do Japanese? Or are you gonna do Chinese? Technically, you could say, oh, these are the same characters, but they're not written the same way. So to me, in my mind, whenever I think about this character, these are two different characters. You might not see it, but they're two different characters. And if I wrote them, they kind of subtly look different. Consistently look subtly different. Not that I'm trying to make them look the same, but they will have some subtle differences if I'm using like a pen or like something with weight or something. You'll probably notice the difference. For the trained eye would probably know a bit of the difference. What is this? Chikatetsu.
地下鉄
What's another one? There's another one. Oh, like a common one would be like Gohan or this radical. These two. So this part and this part, right? This is the same character, but the stroke is different. This handlebar right here is different. It can be this. It can be this. It can be this. It can be like even more, like sometimes it's like more angled depending on like how congested the character is. Lots of little neat little things, but they're supposed to be the same radical. Where are we? I'm really late. So I think we're gonna try to good talk though. Excellent talk. Excellent talk. I think we're gonna just make the story up. I don't think there's any character that will kick. Actually, I kind of want to know what this character. It's probably, well, yeah. Box. Oh, it's that. It's the sway into the. Okay, it's the sway. All right. That's good. I like it that way. So these are a lot of these are repeats. So I already know a lot of these characters because we've been writing Shashinko characters. So we need to know their vocabulary, but not necessarily their stroke order. Okay. So we might as well just connect these as much for now. There's also grammar. How am I gonna do grammar? Let's see. So we have locations grouped together. So let's do Google. Wait, actually. Oh. Yeah? Yeah. Google with, I guess, Hikoki. Oh, wait, are they leveled? Oh yeah, they're leveled. So we need to like level them. That's too far. Oh, that's too long. Oh man, we need to get the proportions right. Out here, here. Ugh. Ugh. Sorry. wait. God, no, save me. Alright, hang on. Hold up. So this goes all the way down. Oh, okay, so these gotta meet. These gotta meet. Okay. Have you learned no, I haven't. Some Han? What is it? Han, there's straight up like 11 readings for I understand that. So which one is that? It's attached to hand. So which one is that? Karate? Oh. Okay. Interesting. Karate. Oh yeah. Okay. So this is going to be a nightmare for a while, so we'll just take our lickings and whoops and work on it as we go. Okay. So we have, and then it's goal. Oops. And key. It's fine. Alright, key. Okay. So we have transportation. I guess we'll lump this in transportation. This one is legacy. This one's legacy, so we won't need to expend too much energy other than remembering this in it. Right. So, Chikatetsu. 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 No. Yes. Chika. Why is chi? Oh, I see why they didn't repeat on chi. Chizu. Chizu. Chizu will definitely. Chizu will come first. We'll throw Chizu at the top. So Chizu. If we have Chizu, and we link to a place, right? So by these two. And then if we link to these two, Fuko will lead to Hikoki. Densha is not here. Sorry, I accidentally hit my glasses. I was trying to. No, we can add Densha to this conversation. Oh, I'm being it's not registering my lists. Gotta slow it down. So so we add Densha to the conversation. Let's look at Hikoki, right? Hikoki. Check. Chi. Tetsu. And yeah. Ooh. Oh. Manual types. So we have manual, which goes this way. Is it on? Is it here? It's not here. Interesting. They didn't include this on the list. Do you find yourself having trouble understanding Japanese content outside Duo? I get that impression from other people using Duo. Do you only use Duo? No, I don't only use Duo. And I listened to other content before I started learning language, the Japanese language. So all the stuff that I'm learning from Duo is in the context of all the stuff that I've already listened to beforehand. I think the impression you get from other people using Duolingo is that they didn't actively participate in listening to the language before they started learning the language, instead of doing it the other way around. I learned Chinese and Japanese from the idea that I've already heard a lot. So I've already had the impression of the stuff before I started learning Japanese. Like, it's kind of a weird thing, or it's kind of an underappreciated thing, but generally I don't passively engage in life's activities. So like, for example, lots of people watch a lot of anime, right? However, after watching so many anime, they stopped trying to understand, trying to take in and understand the stuff. You get complacent and you start generalizing things, right? So when you generalize, you stop practicing and taking in. I don't usually stop that most of the time. Like right now, at this very moment, I haven't stopped deconstructing Duolingo. I think for most people, they have complacency issues, or they're only issues because it's impacting their expectations. So, for example, if you do 15 minutes a day, right? 15 minutes a day, and you still get bored, then when you get bored, you get complacent. I am using Duolingo around an average of 6 hours a day, and I rarely get bored, nor do I get complacent. So that's a little, quite a little different. And when you're saying if I'm understanding Japanese content, I understand Japanese content without actually even having to understand Japanese. Like there's a lot more to Japanese than the language itself. Am I using Duolingo Super? You get Super every 50 days, or 3 days, Victor. So it's day 201 technically on the streak counter. So every 50 days you have 3 days of Super. And then you get like that 2-week free trial. So I time it with, I said I usually time it, my reviews technically, with every 50, but I have changed it up. There was a time when every 50 days I would go back and like legend all the stuff as a review of to prepare for my review. My 50-day review is coming up. So the 200-day review is coming up. I was away for 4 days. That's why day discrepancy. But I'm gonna on day 200 we're gonna do like the whole review, whatever my approaches is, like how my methods changed, and we're gonna try to recall as many kanji as possible. I think we're at 300 plus. However, I'm only gonna confine it to when the 50 days happen. We're not going to do like a 200 sometime down the line. It's a little crazy to do it that way. It's almost unnecessary. We'll just try to complete some fun, like related things, like storyboarding like this or something like that. Yeah, I pushed it off. Back in the day, I did it every 25 days. We had a big review every 25 days. And then since I'm trying to move it to 50 days because relatively speaking, the time is going up because the volume is different now. It's a different type of volume. Adjusting as we go. Haruku. No, yes, Haruku. Haruku is not on this list. We don't know Haruku in Japanese, but we do know wait, how do I know this is Haruku? Wait, Haruku. Wait, how do I know this is... What was my mnemonic for this? Oh, Sampo. Sampo is how we know this. This is the right character of Sampo. That's why I know Haruku. It's Sampo's right character. Alright. And then we also have... Oh, it's not quite a predicate, is it? Yeah, that's fine. Okay. So we have Jitensha. Jitensha. Is that in here anywhere? Yes, it's this one. So G. Where is G10? Ja. Right. And then they did densha to contrast. To compare and contrast. There's zoo. So we take this, right? Chizu. And then we have adjectives to describe these things, right? Going this direction, which we already know these as well. So we have ayai, osoi, right? So osoi and hayai. And then we have toi and chikai, which they will be lumped together as well. Yes, because they're antonyms. Oops. We already looked at this. It's this radical, then this, and it's a fade into that. Yep. Okay. So this is toi, and chikai. Actually, I kind of want to know what this bracket. Is it a down bracket or is it a curve? Yeah, it's a curved in. Okay, fine. All right. And then because we know these, we also need to remember that negative. So one of the parts of the unit is kunai. Right, kunai. Negative negation. What other vocabulary? Because of position, like movement. We also have kara. Kara, let's just prototypically place something, right? Kara. How do I demonstrate position? I'm gonna use English, probably. Just because it's a grammar thing. Or yeah. We'll use location, kara plus position. Was there anything else in the... I guess we took a nod to model. That's gonna be an emotional train ride right there. Or not model, mada. So we'll take a nod to mada because we're heckin'. I totally got lambasted by mada. This is all we need to technically remember for tomorrow. So where am I weak at? What would I likely forget? Probably toy. So I'll keep my ears and wits about me for toy. Shikatetsu. Possibly end up forgetting the left radical of Itsu. There's no way Hikoki can't forget that. Kuko might be a little suspicious. I don't think I need too much for this. Oh, which by the way, like the duo only thing, for this one, right? 131351. 13. I play a video game. I played a video game called Shashinko. Sashinko. And I've been extracting like kanji from Shashinko. So I would say over 60% of these characters today, these new characters, are from Shashinko. And then the other, there's only one new character in here actually. And the other ones are from Chinese. From Duolingo Chinese. So I also want to emphasize that Duolingo is different, right, between language courses. So it is also probably more accurate to specify which Duolingo course. So I'm using both Duolingo Japanese and Duolingo Chinese course right now. In terms of like other resources, I cross-reference all my grammar if I'm interested. If I'm really piqued by a grammar, I would look for grammar sources. Tofuku, I go to Tofuku most of the time. And then for Chinese, I go to the Grammar Week. For some reading, for like some stories and stuff, Tadoku. Yeah, it's a cute name, isn't it? Sashin? Yeah. Yeah, Sashin. Whoops. Yeah, it's Sashinko. It's such a cute name. Yeah. It's Sashinko. Oh, sorry, I missed a sheen. My bad. I missed a sheen. Yeah, picture language. It's also there's another game that I'm still waiting on updates and stuff. Wagotabi. And Wagotabi uses the same cleverness too. It's waggle, and tabi. I'll let you figure out what waggle and tabi is. Yeah, currently there are 2 games that I'm like using to some extent. I have like beta access to Wagotabi. They are currently rolling updates and whatnot, so we get back to that too. So currently I play video games, and I'm going to play video games in the my primary like integration for learning Japanese, especially with Duolingo, is to be able to narrate the story games that I like to play. Omari would be a great place to start, but I likely going to start with Rakwin, and then Mr. Sato, Saito or Sato. I think it's Sato, by the same developer. So the idea is like whether I know how to speak or not, or comprehend other people's stuff, I will eventually be playing video games and whatnot. For now, the bridge is to play video games that are educational. So right now I'm playing educational games. Whether they're whatever level they are, I'm playing them so I can enjoy and use all the stuff that I can. And then I do listen to some vloggers, very specific vloggers. They're usually older vloggers who are doing things while they're like sharing their stuff, like either helping people, interviewing people, something like that. Not the people who are teaching. I don't particularly like people who are Like I don't engage with content where they're deliberately making it look like it's a semester, like a classroom environment, or they're catering towards it. I like people who speak, but they talk about the things they're going to do, or like the things that are happening in their lives. Any Japanese YouTuber recommendations? Oh, that's a good question. I don't know if this guy's too busy lately. He hasn't been posting very much. I'm kind of a little disappointed, but not really disappointed. The guy is like working on a orphanage, and he does like little clips, so he doesn't really talk too much. I would have to hang on. Let me switch to my. His name is. I'm gonna say. Hold up. I'll just look him up right now, because my personal account is not my same YouTube account. You know how like their names don't change. I mean like their names aren't like their actual names. I'm gonna say Code. I really like this guy. He's the guy with the snake mask, right? How'd you know? Oh, because of the orphanage thing, right? Is it the orphanage thing that gave it away? I really like him. His like just seeing his like I really like him. I just feel like he's a nice guy. Yeah, Taka Nihongo Dojo. Taka Nihongo Dojo. Yeah, but I think he's too busy right now, so he hasn't really been posting too much. He's been working on like opening his second or like running his second orphanage, and yeah, it's the guy with the snake mask. I like how awfully specific you are. It's like, oh, is this the guy with the snake mask? It's like, yeah, that's him. It's not like he's not deliberately making stuff like, oh yeah, here's your construction, all that. I like how quaint he is. There is also I thought this person is pretty fun, but she is doing things for like educational purposes. This was recommended to me by someone. Comprehensible Japanese. I think that's the name of the channel, and you can already tell that this is where I started. So when people said like, oh yeah, you should try vlogs and stuff, this is where I started. Or like Shin, a Japanese with Shin. She's an Italki, tutor as well. Oh, and then there's Japanese with Shin is where I started. Now I'm basically just looking for now I'm more or less trying to look for people who just talk and do things, as opposed to like work specifically for Japanese comprehension. I don't as much as I love trying to be like doing like high comprehensible input, like kind of like a vlog, listening, and podcast. I don't mind being utterly confused and watching the screen and trying to figure things out. So I'm looking for someone like Taka, where they spend a lot of their Japanese talking, and then they also speak English, or like from time to time they would speak English, and I like hearing the Japanese accent. So it's quite refreshing when you're watching someone who comfortably switches between English and Japanese, who knows like their audience and whatnot. So right now, those are the only three that come to mind at the moment. Someone suggested something like Tuyu or something. I saw like a few videos. Zuyu, something like that, who also like collaborates with other people. So there was like a video between Shin and I forgot this guy's name, like Zuyu or something. That was also a thing. I'll keep you posted. I'll keep you posted if there are any others. But I think at almost immediately, like Taka kind of just stole my heart temporarily, figuratively, because I just like his charming demeanor and his animation, his animated face. There's something about it makes you want to pay attention. All right, so we're done for today for Japanese. I'm going to be switching over to Chinese in a bit. And these are probably the only things I have to remember. It wasn't too bad. I don't have to remember too much. And I don't, just for the record, I do not push faster or slower or like, you know, I don't have a habit of pushing past anything in case in case things are not old or new. I don't really have that sense of things. I tend to put in my time regardless. So it's gonna be another half a year, like at least another 7 or 8 months before I conclude Duolingo's Japanese course, and which would technically free up something to place in it, right, to replace it. I do have to give a little bit disclaimer. I'm getting used to making these disclaimers at the end and talk about these things at the end of a section. I want to, like, this is my take-home message to end a section. So I think one thing that we touched upon today, I like to reiterate quite a lot, is the idea that one can definitely engage in a thing in many different ways. It is not practical to think you can improve in a skill when you're not practicing it. So I'm not suggesting that using Duolingo this way is going to help you construct natural sounding language, natural sounding Japanese, because I inherently do not do that. So in order to understand, you know, comprehensible input, which some people criticize me for not understanding comprehensible input, I get the idea that one of the elements are missing, which is the idea that if you don't do the thing, right, you can't possibly be practiced in the thing. I totally agree. The thing that I feel like there's a failure of understanding is that I do that when I see fit. It doesn't hurt me to do whatever things at my own pace. So there's a difference between someone who's very angry and think that if they keep doing their Anki flashcards, they would somehow be able to construct language and understand Japanese content when they didn't spend any time consuming Japanese content. So I do consume Japanese content quite a lot, actually. Much like most people, I think, who is interested in Japanese, the Japanese language, I think they started consuming Japanese content well before they started learning language, and I did too. However, I was academically interested in Japanese content. I study things I enjoy. That's kind of what I do most. So now everything I currently enjoy is sufficient to my current enjoyment makes all my activities so much better. So I don't have to change anything outside of Duolingo. Duolingo is the new thing. Everything else is old. Watching people speak in Japanese, watching like anime, watching manga, that's still your usual. It's my usual routine. Watching like Japanese shows and whatnot, still my usual routine. And I spend a lot more time now, even more engaged in it. Now I'm not even necessarily thinking about like pop cultural references, behavioral patterns and whatnot. Now I get an opportunity to hear if I can pick up any Japanese. So it's been quite nice. It's been a really nice, like, retroactive experience. The more Japanese I get, the more like words and sounds and letters I get to put to all the sounds that I've been listening to since I was 5 years old is fantastic. With that said, my intuition for Japanese lags, like if I needed to make an honest comparison, lags way behind my Chinese. My Chinese intuition is off the walls because I have to construct Chinese adjacent stuff to my parents. So I have spent most of my life constructing in that format already. So now the fun part is now I get to juxtapose Chinese and Japanese all the time, and that has vastly improved my engagement with Japanese. I talked about this earlier in the day when we were doing the course. It's like when I see densha, I actually see electric car. So I also see 火车, not train in English. What is the step to step for learning any language? Unfortunately, the step to step, you're probably going to be better off like maybe watching some videos from like Stephen Kaufman, maybe. I'm gonna defer to someone who actually does this. I probably misspelled his name. There's probably only one F. Stephen Kaufman. Or maybe like someone like Matt in Japan may be used as a model. But you said any language. So any language. I really don't know. My step by step is taking from a psychological perspective. So basically, my first step would be, I kind of tried to summarize this before in around the day 100, day 150 something. I think it was a day 154 video. I kind of try to summarize my psychology in step one. Step one, you start with what you know. So, right, you spend, you probably may not know, spend like a couple days figuring out how you learn something, right? What do you do already? Use that as your platform to develop and engage in a tool maybe that supports how you learn. While you're doing that, step two is to figure out how to increase your learning capacity, because what you used to learn could be old and outdated, because the last time you learned something might be in high school and you stop learning foundations. So the idea is you reinvestigate and learn how to increase your learning capacity. So you'll probably explore like which tools, for grammar, for example. Like if you realize you don't like foundations and structure and whatnot, then it doesn't have to be that way. The idea is how to be generalizable, right? Step by step would be prescriptional, and I'm not a prescriptional person, so I don't prescribe any. The advice that I can ever give is to evaluate what you already know about your learning technique. So how did you learn anything now? What was the most recent skill? What was the most recent skill you learned? What are the approaches that you took? And which ones did you feel like it's most comfortable? Then you can go around and shop for a tool that complements that the best at the moment. And then while you're learning with that tool, you iterate on it. So I started with Duolingo because it pretty much meet all my prerequisites, like how to start, some things to work on, so on. So I built from there. The reason why I do that for step one is because if you do it this way, you're not spending like 3 years 3 years planning some ideal plan to do something. You effectively, because whatever you plan now is not going to be as competent as what you plan later. So in another month, you're going to reevaluate because you're more competent now. You understand things that don't work, things that do work. So every month, for me, it was every month. It's up to you to determine how much month. I reevaluate every month-ish. It was 25 days. And now I reevaluate every 50 days. So it's coming up soon. In another 3 days, I'm going to be reevaluating. I already did 4 new things the last 50 days. And every 25 days, I've done at least 1 or 2 new things. Tweaked it a little bit. So in another 50 days, I will probably be doing other things. And that is the only general advice that I'm very comfortable in giving a total stranger who I have no idea. Prescriptional things might be okay if I knew the person like personally, and I knew a lot about the person. Like if my best friends, I can probably be more specific. However, I would be uncomfortable. I think generally I leave it up to the people who want to take that risk and believe that they can do that. I personally, I'm more like a, for lack of a better word, I'm more like a mentor or therapist position. I must know the person that I'm talking to and know a lot about enough information before you can provide any step-by-step thing. And yeah, I don't ever plan on like standardizing some sort of language learning thing. I have no aspirations of being a polyglot or anything. I love language learning, but what I love more than language learning, is getting people to learn things. And these are the first steps. Like spend a day or two, that is probably what I'm saying. Spend a day or two and try to think back to the last thing you learned. It could be a video game, by the way. You could, if you like playing video games, categorize the last 10 video games you played and write down the things that was the best of each video game that got you to think, or the problems that you had to solve in those video games. And you can probably find a tool or someone who has something that like, hey, this is how it works. And that could save you from planning forever. And it can also get you a more informed start. Starting a right tool, I do get it. Starting with a perfect tool, not so much. You don't necessarily need a perfect tool. I started with Duolingo, and by far, I can tell you now, to me, it's not a perfect tool. Obviously, no tools are perfect. And also, it doesn't stop me when someone tells me, oh, Duolingo is not going to work for me. Like, well, I know what works for me already. I chose Duolingo based on how I can get things. There are things that can work better, for sure. I understand that. And people get on my case all the time, say, oh, but you could be doing more with your time. It's like, I get it. I understand. And that's great. I'll probably get there. Maybe. Meanwhile, though, I have so much enjoyment from what I'm doing now that, okay. Like, I don't want to... And my goals are different, obviously. So that's probably where it's a nice ender. You played The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, but its English was advanced, and you didn't understand anything? Oh, interesting. So how were you able to play Legends of Zelda without knowing the English? That could be interesting. How you learn to play a game without actually knowing the language. Like all the language. There might be ways to learn that way, right? Like some people like to look at scenes and watch the conversation happen, and then you kind of just feel it. So then you can apply some learning like sentences and structure to that over time. There are quite a lot of ways. Games do really well teaching without literacy, actually. When was the last time you heard someone skip all the cutscenes and still follow the game? I'm just saying. Think about it. I'm just gonna toss that out there. I'm a story person, so if the whole game is text based, I'm in it. Okay, so I'm interested. So I'm not saying that there aren't people who, when they see text on the screen, they would roll their eyes, or their eyes would roll back to their socket, and they would hit select as fast as possible, or skip. Sorry, I said select because I'm a boomer, right? Select used to be the button, or start and select used to be the button to skip things. Anyways, thanks for asking. I try to say what I'm comfortable with. But generally speaking, start with what you know and get inspired to do something else. Do you recommend flashcards like Anki? Have you used flashcards to learn things before? If you have, that's a good place to start. You know? If you don't have trouble with installing Anki and using Anki, downloading Anki, you're technologically inclined, and then you use lots of flashcards, yeah. For vocabulary, yeah. Why not? Why not? Yeah. Good place to start. Yeah. I think most of the time, the person has the answer already. So if you use flashcards before for vocabulary, that's a good place to start. Real talk. Like, here's a good example. I don't learn anything like the way Duolingo is making me learn. So I totally agree with people. The way Duolingo teaches things is very unnatural. So naturally, I wanted to figure out how to get Duolingo to work. That's just me. Like, for example, when you say Anki sometimes get boring, that sounds like a challenge to make it not boring. At least that's what it would say to me. So the question is, how do you get Anki to not be boring? Or you can find something that is flashcard that isn't boring. Or you can have two different types of apps that have flashcard, and one is not boring when the other is boring. So when you're bored of Anki, you could use something else, right? However, it's like flashcards, but flashcards in a different way. Wanikani has a different approach than Anki. So if you have like money and time, Wanikani has a different approach for SRS. Bushu, Denchu, they have different ones too. I don't think Link, I don't think uses flashcard approach. So there are quite a lot of tools, especially for Japanese. Duolingo is good when you have a basics in the language, you think? I can see that. Yeah, I can see that. So I'm gonna wrap this up because I need to do my Chinese lesson. Thank you for the candid conversation. I hope you find the thing that works for you. I think if you're using the B word, if you're saying boring, it's time to find some inspiration. If there's anything I could say, right, about efficiency, when people talk about efficiency, it's often about efficiency. Like how do you learn the fastest, right? There's one thing, in my opinion, that trumps scientifically backed, like, or whatever, statistically backed efficiency, right? I can't spell statistics, so we're just gonna leave it like that. Okay, is if you're bored, if you're not motivated, language learning is A secondary language is voluntary, so it requires a lot of input into maintaining motivation and board. So regardless of how efficient the thing is, you gotta find something that is motivating, consistently motivating, and not like bored, and like not boring. Otherwise, it doesn't matter how long you do the efficiency. You could be bootstrapping through it. Some people say you can bootstrap through it and learn to love it. That is a possibility. The question is, how much efficiency is it costing you over time, and how much mental stability is it costing you? Some people decide. What is my native language? It's Fujianese. However, I speak American English. So this is American English with a dash of Fujiwa. So the way I talk, the tone and the lower register a lot of times is because why mommy go papa go Fujiwa. It's very like similar in tone. So a lot of times that flows in, but the actual like language that I use the most is English. Whenever you hear me say the way I talk, if I transition to, talking about saying dino, Nihonwa, right? 開始佢在電腦推呢本話，拿住我蒙高腦, it's more or less still the same tone. Like the accent is still a combination of the way I speak in Fujianese. It's like very low, and sometimes some people say it's calming at times. And my American accent is, a lot of people call it the most boring accent in the United States. It's the Northeast accent. So it's the one that everyone thinks, oh, that's an American accent. So it's not the Southern accent, which I really like, by the way. I really like the Southern accent. It's not like the Northeast accent, which kind of sounds like British accent. And it's not the West Coast accent. I don't even want to try the West Coast accent. No, I can't do it. I don't know how to do any of these accents. But thank you. I appreciate it. Okay, folks. All right. This is a wrap. I was gonna make a Gen Z joke or like a Gen Alpha joke. However, I'm not hip enough. You've been studying English for 5 months. I'm B1 currently. Well, congratulations. B1's amazing in 5 months. You want to level up? How can you improve your pronunciation? I haven't ever taught English in my life. The one thing I come to observe about English is when you think about a pronunciation, you find someone that you love listening to. And then when they're talking and stuff, say some of that back out loud. I think when it comes to pronunciation in English, it's the choice of the people you want to listen to. So if you found someone who like you just can't stop listening to, like I don't understand a word they're saying, but they just sound really nice and I want to sound like them, I think personally that is how you get English pronunciation. As opposed to Japanese, in my opinion. Like Japanese has lots of rules and diction, so you can actually learn quite a lot from like structured work. In English, it's a chaos. So, regardless of what your accent is, if you're able to pronounce the words in the sense of if someone can understand you in English and you can comprehend what they're saying, you're good. You're good to go. I actually think it's not the same the other way around. I don't represent other American American English speakers. For myself, having an accent in English is the norm, not the exception. So if you can pronounce a word and the other person can understand it, which typically I would, because I'm kind of used to hearing people with different accents. I spend my life surrounded by people with different accents, and that is the best, in my opinion. That's one of the best parts about English. Congratulations on becoming a one, actually. Like, if you're B1, you're good to go. Go out there, use some English, listen to someone who you really like to listen to, and role play, pretend to be them. That's how I'm gonna go about trying to learn Japanese, by the way, at some point. I'm basically going to read stories with the accent that I think sounds really cool. And I think Taka has a great accent for Japanese. So I'll probably do that. For Spanish, by the way, I do plan on learning Spanish in another 3 months. Like 3 or 4 months. I'm revisiting Spanish, actually. It's been a while. So you're in a Spanish speaking country. Brazil? No, sorry. Brazil is Portuguese. Somewhere around Brazil? Sorry. I typically lots of people around this time. El español es una lengua muy divertida. Yeah. Sí. Definitely. Agreed. So I've been planning on revisiting Spanish as well. All right, human being, we can do it together in like 3 or 4 months. I have so many like different people that I've met that has Spanish as their current language, like their current language. Your country is close to Brazil, but not Brazil. Okay. Yeah, so I love, like, I can't wait to start Spanish as well. There are so many people who actually know Spanish and or Portuguese and know like both Spanish and Portuguese. And the reason why I guess like around Brazil is because just a quick talk. I know I'm supposed to end this section, but the real talk is there are 3 major groups that I have encountered on Twitch with language learning. Like, these are 3 really giant groups. It's the most common groups. First, they're separated by time zone. So if you were to talk to me over 6 hours ago, like when I start, you're probably from Norway and or Germany. And then right now in this time zone, like from 3 hours earlier, you're either Brazilian, or you're around Brazil. Like, there are I've interacted with fewer Americans, actually, now that I think about it, than these 2 groups. So it's weird, but I'm not trying to generalize or something. It's funny that it happens that way. You kind of expect something, like occasionally there's a Canadian, occasionally there's a French person, but for whatever reason, it's Norway and Germany. Maybe it's something about the way I am. I don't know. And then it's Brazil and around Brazil. So I'm looking forward to having the chance to learn Spanish. Oh, thanks, Skin Kim. Hello. Thanks for the one that I forgot what those are called. Are those called super chats? Thank you. So I can't wait. Don't worry. Well, I can wait. We're gonna try to take this. You want to get like human being said. Human being wants to. They plan on revisiting Spanish as well once they get to an intermediate level of Japanese. Yeah. So I've been spacing it out by 6 months. So like I was 6 months into Japanese before I start Chinese, and Chinese is really familiar to me. And then in another 6 months in, like another 3 to 4 months, I'm going to start. Thanks again. I'm gonna. Oh yeah, that is called super chat. I'm gonna start Spanish, and Spanish I did spend like 3 years, 3 to 4 years with Spanish, but it's been so long, so I can't wait. I can't wait to mess around with Spanish. Do you know, like, here's I know this is gonna sound edgy. My favorite parts about the different languages are the parts that I feel most people don't like. So cue the rolls. What is my favorite part about Japanese? Onyomi and kunyomi and kanji writing. What is my favorite part about Chinese learning? The tones. And what is my favorite part? Why did I fall in love with Spanish in the first place? The conjugation system. Like, I really like a Spanish conjugation system. Verb conjugation. Yeah, I really love verb. Okay. And in English, my favorite part was the grammar. My favorite part was the grammar. Like, I still remember, like, I did like sentence diagramming just for fun, but because English grammar constantly have exceptions, it felt like you're constantly having to like find new pieces of the puzzle. Like, English grammar is so inherently inconsistent that it feels like you could just spend the whole time messing around. Like, it feels cool, or almost like kind of like a secret, you know, like a kid, like it's your personal secret when you know excellent English grammar, because English grammar has so many exceptions, right? So I think kanji is kind of like that. So if you know onyomi, kunyomi, and kanji, it's kind of like, oh, you could do these fun things, right? It's kind of like getting into the deeper part of the system. When you're playing a video game, you get to the good stuff when you're in the end game, right? Or quote unquote the end game, where there's no end, right? You keep diving into the end game. And Hanzi is for sure the tonal, how the tones change with each word formation. And in Spanish, totally the verb conjugations by far. Am I streaming on another platform? I am. I'm on YouTube and Twitch at this. You can help me improve my speaking when I start learning. Feel free. You can make commentary. I love commentary. You don't have to like obviously I don't encourage people to like correct everything, or you can allow me to make mistakes and whatnot. I typically like making mistakes and whatnot. Make commentary. Like, tell me something interesting. And whenever people tell me something interesting, it's easier to remember and whatnot. I like sharing stories, experiences. So like, if you're learning English, if you want to practice English or something, explain something to me about English, and then I will either talk to you about it, or will like make stories and fun jokes about it. I think, to me, that's what I have to offer as someone who is neither an expert in most things. However, I'm a listening person, right? Yes, I'm not going to be a native speaker in pretty much anything. I don't even consider myself very competent in American English. And that's the nature of my thing. However, if you hate something, or you think something is wildly boring, it gets less boring when you tell someone about it and explain why it's boring. Then that someone could say something that make you maybe find something else that's less boring. So if you're feeling like you have no one else to talk to, or like, yeah, no one's learning English but you, that kind of thing, feel free to stop by. Like, I love talking about it. Like, right now I'm basically not studying Japanese, right? But that's not what this is about. If I were focused, like, again, I want to emphasize this. If I were to focus on efficiently learning Japanese, I wouldn't stream at all, right? That's the whole point, right? So the point I'm on here is that I want people to talk about, explain things. Like, hey, you know what's cool about the Japanese language? X, Y, and Z. Here you go. I say, hey, that's interesting. I'll remember that. Let's keep going. Do you have anything else? And then we can chat back and forth. So it doesn't even have to be the language we're in. However, it is a bonus if we all are interested in overlapping language. So that's pretty cool. Right. Also, let me know if my English is like a little too much. Generally speaking, without Like if someone suddenly tells me they're like, I don't know, going to college, has an advanced degree, then my English kind of shifts. But generally speaking, if you wanted to compare, I'm speaking around a high school level. Typically the English that I use a lot of times, like 60 to 70% of the time, I'm around a high school level. And I believe high school level is more than qualified to be it's got to be at least C1, right? I don't even know how that works, but C1 is at least high school level, right? I have no idea how English is rated. I'm a terrible example of an English instructor. However, I think I try to speak at a high school level most of the time, because that's where the average, I think, English speaker is around. I don't like sounding pompous and grandiose. That can happen. It can happen though. I have unintentionally alienated people before. Okay. All right. Thank you. Hajimemashite. Right. Hajimemashite. I don't actually know. It's been a pleasure. I don't know how to say that in Spanish anymore. How do you say nice to meet you in Spanish? Or thank you for your time or something. Gracias por la hora? Hora? I don't know. Oh, oh yeah, encantado. Encantado? Wait, my accent is place. Un gusto conocerte. Interesting. And encantado. Oh no, I don't know where the emphasis is anymore. We're gonna need a lot of work. It's fine. It's totally fine. The reason why I'm having trouble is I can't break away from like the Japanese bitch accent at the moment, so I'm having a problem. Anyways, thank you. So un gusto conocerte. Un gusto conocerte. Kind of like that too. Encantado. Kind of reminds me of like Enchanted. It's nice. Okay. All right. We're gonna switch gears, by the way. Thank you. That's a take-home message for the Japanese portion. I'm gonna like take a bathroom break, walk around a little bit, and then I'll be back. So yeah. That's the take-home message. If this is the end of our Japanese section. I have another 2.5 hours for the Chinese session upcoming. So for all the Japanese people out there. Oh, it does mean enchanted? Oh, okay. That's what I figured. So for the Japanese folks out there, if you're gonna watch this later, arigatou gozaimasu. Right? And until next time, mata ne, ja ne. Right? And I'm gonna step away for a moment. We're gonna switch gears. Gonna take a quick bathroom break. Get some hydration, and I'll be back. Thank you.